very pleasant good afternoon. This is Marilyn Wells, and you are in tune to Marilyn Wells and Friends. We are live from our studio here in East Point, Georgia, WAIN-TV, and sister station WAEN. This is our debut, and we are very excited about having Atlanta as our listening audience. I've got two guests that we're going to share their lives with today, so I want you to be a part of it. I have Mr. Lewis Jackson Sr. Mr. Jackson, he is the CEO and founder of WAEN-TV, WAIN. And I want to say a pleasant good afternoon, Mr. Jackson, and thank you for coming here.
It is more than a pleasure that you would have me. I walked in the room, it was so pleasant. I mean, the scenery was so pleasant, and you just made it light up. And I am just excited to be your guest.
And you know what? I'm going to share with the audience how I did meet the founder of this TV station. It is a real funny story. And you know what? It's a funny story, but it's a story that you are going to be encouraged about, to never give up on your dreams. And some of you out there have been praying and asking God for things, and you think, well, wait until we share this story about how Mr. Jackson and I met. But first, we are going to have some information commercials about the station.
The Winans. Andre Crouch. Commissioned. L.A. Mass Choir. Gospel's legends are all together in a special 2-CD and cassette box set. Back in the Day, a collection of gospel's most illustrious compilation, is available on CGI Records. Also added an historical booklet which takes a look at the birth of gospel music. Back in the Day on CD and cassette, available at all Circuit City Music locations.
All right. Thank you for coming back. Once again, this is Marilyn Wells, and you are in tune with Marilyn Wells and Friends. Now, before I get into how Mr. Jackson and I met, let me give you a little bit of information about this gentleman. He was born in Tobokan, Georgia, and you have 7 siblings, and you have been married for 39 years. Let the church and everybody say amen. 39 years to Miss Lily Glover. And you, Mr. Jackson, you are an entrepreneur. You graduated from Savannah State College. You majored in business administration, and you graduated in 1968. You know what? 1968 is significant because that's the year that I graduated from high school. And I see...
You mean tell me I'm 4 or 5 years older?
Yes, you are. And...
That's all?
No, yeah, right. When you were graduating from college, I just graduated from high school.
I know, but I was just looking when you walked in here, sit down, and you say you had a son 40.
40.
I said, now how can she have a son at 10 years old? Because I thought you were just 50.
No, I'm a little bit more so than that age of 50. And Mr. Jackson, you know what? I see where you have listed here 5 businesses. And then after I say this, I would like for you to tell us about yourself and you becoming an entrepreneur. You are the owner of an insurance company, a real estate company, a tag and title agency, a title and loan company, an auto mechanic shop, construction company, a DUI school, and some others. All right, Mr. Jackson, you just share with us about that. Did you always want to become an entrepreneur? Bring us up to date.
No, I was forced to, because I'm like I tell everybody, I'm just a country boy. And when I got up here, nobody wouldn't give me a job.
Uh-huh.
Because at that time, we were going down there trying to get the other race to give us a job.
Yes.
And they didn't see any reason that I should be talking about running their company. So I decided that if I couldn't run theirs, then I'd run my own.
Yeah.
So I went out and started my own business.
Mm-hmm.
But first, you just have to be, anybody can start a business who want one.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to have, everybody say you got to have a bunch of money. I didn't have no money. I opened my first office, I had $85.
Mm.
We were walking down, a friend of ours, we were riding down looking for office space.
Mm-hmm.
And we saw a sign said office, and we went in there. And we asked, it was a real estate office, and we asked him how much was the office. And he said $100 a month.
Mm.
And I said, well, I only have 85.
Okay.
He said, well, then you'll be $85 a month.
Wow.
And 12 months later, we had 3 offices.
Now, was this in Georgia?
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
And I started an insurance business.
All right.
And so we were selling all kind of insurance.
Mr. Jackson, let me ask you this. In order to open up an insurance business, did you study that in college or?
No.
All right.
I had a job working for a Pride Tire Company.
Okay.
And this gentleman walked in there one day and had 2 pockets of money. He told me, he said, this pocket belongs to me and that pocket belongs to the company.
Mm.
And I had never seen him. I was managing a tire place with Pride Tire Company. And I said, oh, that's your money? He said, yeah.
I know that's
I said, can I get a job with you? And so, I went down there.
Okay.
And I just walked away from this job, went on there. And lo and behold, the first week, when I got my check, it wasn't but $80-something. So I went in and asked the manager. I said, look here, something wrong, because I ain't got but $85, and I was bringing home more than that where I was. He
So
said,
the $85 was for how long?
for a week.
For a week's pay.
Yep, it was
All right, there
$85.
goes the cell phone.
Oh, my phone acting funny. I thought I
And
had to
then,
get it.
as we turn off the okay.
So that's how it happened.
Okay.
And from there, I just started. But $85 I couldn't live off $85.
No.
So what I started to do was I started throwing in the newspaper in the morning.
Okay.
I got up in the morning and got my paper out.
Mm-hmm.
And on Saturday, I sold pots and pans.
Mm.
So I could get out there on Saturday and make $100.
Yeah.
And so when I know anything, I was making more money hustling than I was on the job, selling insurance. So then I thought about, I don't need that either. Let me do more than one thing.
Mm.
I started a real estate company, didn't even have a license.
Mm-hmm.
I went in and hired a broker to run my company
Okay.
because I didn't have a real estate license.
All
Then I
right.
went and got a license and all of that afterward.
You know what, Mr. Jackson, one of the things that I do admire you. And
Wait, you admire such a country boy like me?
no, I really admire you and your accomplishments. And before the show, we were talking, and I said, well, what, do you have something special you want to talk about? But you're always looking ahead to the future, and you want to talk about where we are going and talk about the leadership here in our great city of Atlanta and what is happening. But before we do that, I want you to share. There's 2 sides to every story, and then if you marry, they'll say there's 3 sides. So give the audience your playback about how you met me. Go ahead.
Well, we were in the restaurant.
Big Daddy's.
Yeah, and
Big
we were
Daddy's.
eating the food. It was good. And I saw you sitting over there, and I said, that lady has talent. And there's a hidden something about you. So when I walked over there and handed you my card and told you, why don't we get together? And you said something like, I've been looking to do something similar to that.
Wow.
And and that was it. You see, you can spot if somebody walk in this door and they got talent, and you can see it.
Okay.
I mean, haven't you been in a room when somebody walk in there is dead? for the first time, then somebody else walk in there look like it's light up, and you're seeing both of them for the first time. That's the way it is. Some people got it. That's that some got it, some ain't.
And you know
and
what?
you had it.
Oh, well, and I give God
I
all
knew
the
you
glory.
were smart.
Okay, well, thank you. See, all right. And I wanted you to share that with the audience because at the beginning of the show I said, I want to encourage you. If you have a dream out there and you believe in God and asking Him, it's going to happen. It's going to happen in His time. What Mr. Jackson, okay, now here's my rendition of how it was. You know, women are more detailed. We had just came from church and we were eating dinner at a place called Big Daddy's on Old National. And there was about 5 of us, and there were my friend, she had a fashion show the day before, and she had company out of town, and they wanted soul food. Now, any soul food, that's the place to go. Am I right, Mr. Jackson?
Right,
okay.
right.
All right. And we were sitting there eating, and this tall, distinguished man with gray hair and a gray beard, he came by the table. And, of course, you know, everyone just started talking. And then networking, I handed him one of my cards. Just a little bit about me now. I'm retired from Delta Airlines. After I had my son years ago, I went back to school and I got my radio and TV license. And I have a radio broadcast on WGPM. Magic 98.1 on that FM dial. I've had that for about 11 years. So I give Mr. Jackson my card, and my friend, her granddaughter, she just start jumping up and down, and pointing to me. And I thought, why is she pointing to me? Well, she was trying to tell you that I also had a TV show. I said, no, I don't. I got a radio show. So anyway, I didn't think any more about it. I thought nothing else about it. 2 days later, I get a call from Mr. Jackson's secretary. She wanted to know if I would be interested in appearing on your program, and it's called, what's it called, Mr. Jackson? OGs. The OGs. All right, and I was available. And after the show, I was just going to go out and get the DVD, but you said something to me, and I'll never forget that. You said that I had been blessed with talents in radio and TV, and the ministry, this we're going to segue into our leadership of the Atlanta, the ministry that I have, why don't I share it? I have the gift and talent to share it with the audience, to let people know. And that stuck with me, and that is why I went on, because this show here, it is going to be a vessel to let people know what's going on in our city, and about some of the not so good things that is happening in our city. Mr. Jackson, let's go ahead and let's talk about what do you think has happened to our city?
Well, back when when I was about to say we, but you know, I will say we. When we came along, our parents taught us the art of hard work.
Yes.
I mean, you didn't get anything that you worked for.
Right.
When I went to college, and most folks at that time, there were not all of these grants. There were no loans. You had to work your way through. Mm-hmm. If you didn't work, you didn't go. Mm-hmm. Your parents couldn't afford to send you. So we got out and we took the leadership. Those folks that went to school back there, they were leaders because nobody pushed them. They went on their own. Nobody asked them nobody told me, so you're supposed to go to college. It was something that I wanted to do.
Okay.
And that's the way most leaders were. They knew what they wanted to do. And now we got folks that graduate from school. They go because they make it easy, and they don't have to worry about the things that we had to worry about.
Why?
So that makes them a little bit weaker.
Yes.
We were stronger.
Yeah.
Back in those days, we had anybody could have been a leader. Now you have very few. And so it's so few leaders until the water is so weak. That's the problem that we have. We don't have the person to lead us, and we don't really need nobody to lead us. But we just got to find a way to do it. And I always said that there's a solution for every problem. I was listening to our president yesterday, and he has a solution, but he got to get somebody. He got to get the congressman to buy into it.
Yes.
If you don't get nobody to buy into it, you got a problem. We always had the Maynard Jacksons and the Andrew Youngs who could get people to buy into their leadership in Atlanta. Now I think our mayor now is back on the right track. He's out there, and folks are buying into some of his ideas. But somewhere along the line, we lost because we got people who was corrupt. We got people who want to take from the less fortunate, and we just can't do that.
Where do you think the breakdown happened? Where do you think the breakdown is?
I tell you one place it is. When we came along, we knew we had something to do. But since all our bright folks are so scattered now, we knew where the leadership was in our community. One thing was over there at Morehouse and Spelman and all of those. Now they don't get the brightest student, because the brightest students know that they could go anywhere and go to school. Just take my son, who was bright. He could have went anywhere, but I tried to get him to go to Morehouse, but he went to University of Georgia.
All right.
Because
why?
Because first thing is that he could go to University of Georgia cheaper. He was gonna get the full Hope Scholarship, and it wasn't gonna cost him nothing. Well, if he'd went over there, I'd have had to pay the tuition, then I couldn't have bought him a car.
Okay.
So he chose to do that.
You made the right move right there.
And secondly, he wanted to be a genetics major, and they didn't have that kind of stuff over there.
All right.
But now he ended up, going on and being a doctor, but that was because of the leadership he got up there at the University of Georgia. But now he's not putting that back to lead of a city. He's doing his thing with a needler now.
Who would you? I want to ask you this question. Name 2 role models. You feel that it'd be a man or a woman, 2 men, 2 women, that are role models here in the city of Atlanta. Because, see, that is one of the breakdowns. But before you give me the answer, I see the wheels are turning in your head. We had talked about this when you had invited me on your show. I truly know that there is such a breakdown in the families. It is a nationwide statistic that Afro-American women have the highest number of infected HIV/AIDS, and that is continuing. Statistic came out, I saw this one at the beginning of the month. There has been a 46% rise since 2003 of HIV/AIDS in Afro-American men. The breakdown is in the home. It is in the home. Give me 2 role models that you would say we had in the city of Atlanta.
What now?
Yeah.
That's hard to do. It's hard to give 2 great leaders because, we used to look at a congressman. Our congressman ain't doing nothing.
And you know what? Now
we used to look at our church. We don't have a strong church leaders. We used to look at the colleges here. When we come along, Dr. Mays was one that everybody respected. Down to the church, we had Dr. Borders and Dr. King, who was strong in the religious leadership. We had Maynard, who was leading in the
Maynard Jackson, Mayor Maynard Jackson. Yes.
Political.
Mm-hmm.
We had Senator Leroy Johnson, who was in the political. These guys that we looked up to.
Julian Bond.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But now, I mean, we got some guys that's filling the position, but one to look up to, none of those were the one. And I don't think you need to look up to them anyway. I looked up to it. See, I come from a strong family.
Uh-huh.
My great-granddaddy bought his slave master's farm, and he sent two of his kids to Tuskegee back in those days.
I've been down there. What did you just say, though? You just said it. That's what I just said. The breakdown is in the family homes. You said you had a strong family. But go ahead.
So when you got a strong family, I mean, you're going to rise. Because, we've always taught, don't shame the family.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Make the family look good. You're a Jackson, so you got to live up to something.
Mm-hmm.
You couldn't go out there and it was. You wanted your parents to be proud of you.
Yes.
You wanted the community to be proud of you.
Mm-hmm.
You wanted the church to be proud of you, and you wanted to show when you were in school that you were not a slouch.
Yes.
Now these kids don't care nothing about. Showing that they got some leadership in school and that they are. Everybody walking around looking, you when we were, I taught school a little bit.
Oh, okay.
But when you went to school then as a teacher, you could walk in the high school and you could tell the teachers from the students. I don't even know if you can tell the teachers from the students.
Yeah. Okay. and you know what, Mr. Jackson, the breakdown is in the homes, and I wanted to continue. Time goes by so fast. All right.
You ain't got but 2 more minutes with me.
I know, but I want to ask you before we do go to a break.
No. I need to ask you something.
Okay, but before you ask me something, what can we do? What do you think some of our steps being taken to build up our family? What steps do you think can be taken, should be taken?
But where it's going, and I see it's getting back on that track. See, back in those days, the mom was at home, and she took care of the kids. She could watch the kids.
Uh-huh.
Because, we didn't have all the greed. But now we got to have every house now got 3 or 4 cars. I got 4 cars in my house and 2 folk there.
I knew you did. Okay.
So, you got, we got all these things and nobody to watch,
Yeah.
Somebody got to watch the flock.
Yeah.
Back in those days, grandmama watched the flock.
Mm-hmm.
If mom had to go out, somebody was there
Yeah.
watching.
Yeah.
So these kids come home now, what y'all call them, latchkey kids?
Latchkey kids. Uh-huh.
And they come home, you don't know what they doing between 3 o'clock and 6 when you get there.
When you get home.
Now, that's why we started a company called I Watch My House.
Oh.
So if somebody got there, they can see who's going in their house.
Yeah.
And who's coming out, what time the kid got home. Because if you leave home before the kid go to school, how do you know that they went to school?
I know that's right.
So there's a great breakdown there, and until we get the family black, and how can we do that when what they say 80% of the parents are